Use this room on Sunday. A Narcotics Anonymous group uses it. So, Ahmed, this is Neve.
I do believe it's possible for the Palestinians to reach peace, even though at the moment they're suffering tremendously. And it may seem there's no light at the end of the tunnel, but I would encourage them to keep their hopes high and to work for peace, which they so rightly deserve. But there has to be changes by the Israeli government. The Israeli government current policies, which are genocidal, has to change. You cannot build peace on a genocide. And that tragically is what's happening to the Palestinian people. I've been many times to Palestine and I've been shocked by the tremendous suffering the Palestinian people are putting up with at the hands of the Israelis. And the Israeli government is an apartheid government. It's racist. It is carrying out genocidal politics. It's determined to take over the Palestinians' land. So unless the international community start seriously looking at what is happening with regard to Israel, and it's in collusion with Israel. I mean, America is producing the arms to Israel, is producing the money for it to go on with its policies, for its own political purposes. And this is cruel and inhumane. So these things have to change, because you cannot build peace on genocidal politics. And the world needs to act now if there is to be peace in Palestine. And I believe that for Palestine, who have tried non-violence for their history, please keep up the non-violence, keep demanding your rights, your human rights, keep walking for peace, praying for peace. And to the Israelis, stop this madness, because what is happening now by Israel in this genocide of the Palestinian people, history will record that this was against international law, and history will record that thousands and thousands of Palestinian people died needlessly because a government was too arrogant to sit down and reach an agreement and solve the problem. And that to me is horrific, because little children are dying. Thousands of Palestinian children are dying, and the world is watching. And this has got to stop. It's got to stop now. It's gone on too long. And the world is angry at Israel for continuing this barbaric, inhumane, cruel war against men, women, and children in Palestine. America has let the world down. It's funding genocide. It is providing arms for a genocide, and it could stop it in the morning. Biden could stop this war in the morning by saying to Israel, no more bombs, no more money for wars, talk. But they won't do it, because in America, they depend on Israeli support. They depend on being elected into Congress. They take money from arms people. They take money from Israeli elite, and they let the children die of starvation. You know, in Gaza, the little children, some of them are dying from famine, from hunger, from lack of water. And this is the most cruel of deaths for little children. So America is complicit in what is going on. Britain Britain has been sending money to Israel and trying to silence the voices of those who would call for human rights and international law, for the people of Gaza, for the world. What kind of a world are we going to end up with if we allow governments to go do what the like of Israel is currently doing? And Britain is supporting them. And because people are speaking out on behalf of the little children of Gaza, they're being said that they are anti-Semite. We can't have a world that's made up of the superpowers killing those who are innocent. So we're not being anti-Semitic when you call for justice, you call for truth. You are being human. You're being human because you're calling for humanity to, to win out here. So I hope that the like of Britain and indeed Germany, I mean, it's astonishing that Germany and the people of Germany who know the cost of genocides, and yet they are covering for those who are committing genocide, covering for an army which is not moral. Anybody who thinks that the Israeli army is moral needs to think again. The Israeli army is criminal. These are criminals. They are bombing from the sky with the best of bombs provided by America, Germany, England, Europe, and they're criminals. And they must be held accountable. We cannot say that, we'll forget this. We must hold accountable those who are carrying out these crimes. And I applaud the International Court of Justice for naming those who are committing genocide. And I applaud the International Criminal Court and the ICC and the ICJ. These are international bodies set up by the international community, and they have said that in all probability this looks like genocide. I've been often to Israel and Palestine. It is genocide. You don't need to have a law degree to say this is genocide, this is wrong. So let's raise our voices and let's not be silent. Let's demand an immediate ceasefire by Israel. Let's demand dialogue, negotiation to solve these problems around the table. Let's demand that we feed the children, open the crossings from Gaza into Israel, and let the trucks in with the food, feed the children. And every voice should be raised and every protest made. Support the BDS movement against Israel. They deserve to be held accountable for breaking these laws of humanity. So there are ways that we can join together. In the United Nations, every country should come out and say, we want justice for the Palestinian people. And we will not be silenced, and we are not afraid, and we are not anti-Semitic. We are for the truth, for justice. And I think if we keep the movement going of everybody raising their voices with the Palestinians, then we can turn this around. Israel has a worse apartheid. It's worse. I've been in it many times. I've been deported 3 times from Israel for trying to bring in food with the Gaza boats. We need to stand up before it's too late. Because if we don't take a stand now, what's going to happen? We need to take a stand. And if we don't take a stand with the Palestinian people, things could take a turn far, far worse. Keep marching, keep protesting, keep boycotting, keep educating the world of what exactly is happening inside Israel and Palestine. Keep pointing out that this is about ethnic cleansing. In 1948, when the Jewish people started arriving into Palestine, the Palestinian people opened their arms and welcomed them. That's history. But whenever Zionism met, they decided, and this is all on record, it has been hidden for a long time, but we have to unearth the truth of Palestine. They decided, the Zionists, that it wasn't good enough that they had some parts of Palestine, but that the Arabs should be expelled. And what they did in 1948 was most horrific, but it was hidden from the world. It was called the Nakba. The Israelis military and Zionists started to clear the land of the Arab people. And there's footage in this where the people were put out of their villages, their homes. They were killed. They were bombed out. They were put on boats out of Tel Aviv to go down into the like of Gaza. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little villages in Palestine were destroyed, burnt, destroyed completely. This genocide, ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people was called the Nakba, the catastrophe. And it remains in the memory of the Palestinian people. But for a great while, the Israeli propaganda managed to hide this, and the world didn't know anything about this. Now we have a Nakba all over again, but we do know about it in Gaza. Most of the young people in Gaza, and they're all very, very young, they remember their history when their parents were bombed and killed and sent out of their land by the Israelis. So ethnic cleansing is a policy of the Zionists, like Nazism. And they're continuing it to this day. And they get away with it because people have said, oh, well, we better not say anything about the Israelis. But no, we have to point out that this is wrong. It's inhuman that you, in today's world, you do not treat people like this. It's a genocide. And they have to be taken to the International Court of Human Rights. And it has to be brought out into the open. Because if we let the Israeli government and military away with what they're doing to the Palestinian people, who's next? Lebanon? Iran? What country is next? No, we have to stand together with the United Nations, with international law and human rights, and we have to say, for the sake of the Palestinian people and for the Jewish people, because how can they go on as a people building on this destruction and this inhumanity? How do they build peace on this kind of a heritage? So for everyone's sake, this must be dealt with and not hidden away and propagandized. And so the Israelis must call a ceasefire and end their policy of ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. It has to end now. We can do this peacefully. And if we approach it that way, then there will be peace between the Jews and the Arabs, because they share a bit of land together, and they can share it if they do it with equality and justice and human rights, and stop killing and stop the hatred and stop demonizing each other. So it can work, but it's going to take a lot of courage and a lot of hard work. Please stop the war. Call a ceasefire and sit down with Hamas and Palestinian representatives and Israeli representatives and start to deal with your problems together in a more humane way. Peace is possible, but you must be prepared to compromise, to cooperate, to deal with the problems without killing each other. The Jewish people and the Palestinian people are good people at heart, and they love their families, and it's breaking their heart that their soldiers and young people are dying right across the board. So please, for the sake of the people of Israel and the people of Palestine, talk to your enemies and sort this out. Because if we allow this war to go on, more children will die. There will be a wider war and everyone will lose out.